Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs is conducting an oversight visit to the various initiation schools in the Eastern Cape this week. Now, you'll remember over 40 initiates lost their lives during the 2021 summer initiation season in the province. Let's get more details on this inspection with Fikile Xasa. He's the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Mr. Xasa, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. Of course, it's that time of the year once again. I wonder exactly what you'll be looking for and if you'll be, inspecting whether or not anybody needs to have their school shut down or maybe arrested.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity. Currently, we are in Port St. John's, which is part of the OR Tambo district municipality. Yes, there are a number of initiation schools that are illegal. The number counted in the briefing was 68. And I think out of the meeting, we expect action in terms of the law that we are monitoring its implementation. We were told 66 initiation schools are legal. You can see the number. The number is 68 versus 66. So there's a lot of action that is expected from the Provincial Initiation Coordinating Committee, which is composed of the critical structures that must deal with this problem of initiation. In the report itself here, for now, we are informed that about 8 initiates have passed on, but generally they are not in this area of Port St. John's. They are in Mhlonhlo and King Sabata Dalinye, which we are visiting tomorrow and Wednesday.
So already
that's what, yes.
So already it's 8 initiates that have passed on. Just remind us again, Mr. Xasa, exactly when the initiation period started. I'm just trying to establish how long it took for 8 to have already passed away by now.
It started on the 17th of June. The report itself talks between 17th of June and 30th June.
So this is just 13 days in and already 8 young boys.
Yes.
Let's speak about the 68 illegal initiation schools. You said that the 8 initiates who've passed on so far are not necessarily from the Port St. John's area. So the 68 illegal initiation schools that you were able to find during your visit, are those schools only in that particular area or are they scattered across the Eastern Cape?
Normally, when we discover, because we have got teams that are visiting initiation schools across the area, when they are discovered, they are normally closed. And there used to be rescue places for such boys. Now we take them, because those were closed because of funding, we take them to the legal schools. To start with, those that we close illegal schools. That's what the law says. And we are expected to arrest people who actually opened illegal schools.
Mr. Xasa, what seems to be the problem? I mean, every year we find ourselves losing young boys to illegal initiation schools, and government has oversight visits. We find out that police have been told to go make arrests, etc. But these schools come up again every single year and more boys' lives are lost.
You see, what we think is new now is that we have passed a legislation nationally, which was something that was not there before. And on the basis of that law, we have established structures and given clear responsibilities and roles of all critical stakeholders. And the last critical stakeholder are the parents, who are supposed to make sure that when they take their boys to these initiation schools, they take them to the legal ones. They also make sure that they are looked after. But it looks like we have got a bigger problem, which is which might be a societal problem in terms of families. And so hence the focus is more on public education to help parents understand that if you take a decision to take your child to an initiation school, you must take primary responsibility for that. But then all the structures established in terms of the law, they must give that support to parents.
And
in other words, we expect to minimize this thing of boys dying in initiation schools.
I think maybe eradicate would be a better word instead of minimize. I think a lot of people are hoping that one day we'll hear that 0 lives were lost during such a beautiful cultural event in terms of the Xhosa culture. Looking at that in particular, Mr. Xasa, it makes it, is there any concern that it makes it look very dangerous to go through culture? And you'll find that a lot of parents won't probably go through the cultural way of initiating their young boys and will opt for instance, either not doing it at all or taking them to a hospital where you'll definitely find, a doctor who's trained to do this.
Now, let me first agree with you that eradicating it is the best term. This is the theme of what the Eastern Cape is talking about. It says boys must go to the initiation and they must come back alive. That's the commitment. But I'm just responding to the question that says we keep on talking about the same thing, but this thing comes back.
Yeah.
Last year, in fact, not last year, last season, 40 boys died. And that was like a horror. It was like something that we could not believe. That might be the temptation when I talk about minimize. Otherwise, we want to eradicate it.
What are you hoping will come out of the cooperative governance session that's taking place currently in KwaZulu-Natal?
Pardon me, what is happening in KwaZulu-Natal?
Cooperative governance is meeting currently in KZN to discuss a number of issues, including, for instance, initiation schools, the illegal initiation schools, and exactly how they're taking steps to eradicate it, etc. They're basically trying to use their, their power, if I could call it that, as a stakeholder in trying to fight against this. What are you hoping will come out of those discussions?
Because we are a national parliament portfolio committee, we are also discovering that there is a lot that each of these provinces can learn from each other and do exactly what they are supposed to do. But unfortunately, this is a cultural issue. So at times we need to be sensitive. That's what the law says. So I don't want to talk about KwaZulu-Natal because we did attempt to say, in other words, in the Eastern Cape, you have both medical male circumcision and as well as cultural initiation in the province. And we also almost know that if we were to adopt medical male circumcision, this thing would be eliminated as early as yesterday. Yes, but now you will have to educate, which is what we are finding it very difficult. We are engaging traditional leaders, we are engaging communities to say, even because we must respect, the Constitution prescribes that we must respect cultural differences. But it is correct, such cultural differences should not kill boys. So that's what we are involved in now. That is why I'm talking about public education.
All right. Well, thank you very much for speaking to us, Mr. Xasa. It's quite sad to actually find out from Mr. Fikile Xasa, he's the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, that during their oversight visit in the Eastern Cape during this season of initiations, they found that 8 initiates have already passed away, and that's only between the 17th of June and the 30th of June. In 13 days, 13 young boys have lost their lives.